Hello and welcome to part 2 of about personal interviews. So let us go very straightly to the slides and try to understand that what are the things which you need to do over there, right? So the first part, and this is the most important part of the interview, you need to involve. This is very important. Many a times I find people not involved or very casually involved, or students not showing or candidates not showing very genuine interest in the proceedings. Now that gives a very negative picture to the interviewer's mind, right? So that is something which you need to avoid. You have to be very genuinely interested. So take genuine interest in things, right? You need to listen to somebody with caution, right? You need to concentrate a lot. You cannot say, pardon, what did you say, can you repeat? All these things are showing that you are not interested, right? So all these things, or all these small things, make a very big point, right? uh, Next thing is that many students find it very interesting that something has been asked and this is something which they know, right? Students or candidates, so they feel like jumping, right? As soon even the question has not finished and you are jumping to your answer, right? We always feel very good, like, oh, I know this answer, I know this question, I need to jump and answer it, right? Sometimes students are interviewed, like two or three candidates are interviewed together, so there are certain group activities, and sometimes they also feel like that if I am faster then I will make it, if I am slower I will not make it, and all these things. But in any of these circumstances you need to let the person finish the question, right? So those things need to be taken care of. These are very rational decisions which you need to understand. Third, always take a pause before you start, right? Because if you take a pause before you start, you always activate your mind, right? Something is a reaction, right? If suppose somebody has asked you something and you are just answering, it's a reaction, but they want you to respond, right? So it should not be a reflex action, right? You need to think, take a pause and then answer. You can be very fluent, you can be a very fast speaking person, right? But does not matter what, you need to take a pause and then speak. And in fact, if you are a very fast speaking person, it is also required to slow down, because many a times people do not understand how, when you are speaking very fast, people may not get the idea, right? So you can be a rapper, you may be a person who speaks very fast, that can be a thing. But then in interviews, and in formal interviews especially, you need to be slower in your approach, you need to be cautious in your approach, right? So a little bit of slowing down will help you, right? And if you are very fast, you may also have a chance of fluctuating, right? Or you may need to repeat certain things, so that also does not give a very clear understanding. So being fast and all these things may not be very helpful. Second, this is called genuineness. You have to be very honest in your approach, right? If you are you, then it's best. If you are projecting yourself to be somebody else, then it can be problematic. There may be a chance, or there may be a requirement as well, that you need to project yourself as somebody different, because you are not exactly the same as per their requirement. Sometimes it is required, right? We understand. But still, it's an honest approach which helps a lot. So be a little bit honest, that will be always helpful. Do not try to hide or conceal anything. This is another important point, right? Because if you are hiding something, if you are concealing something, then what will happen? You need to hide another thing, then you need to hide another thing, and so on, as we say it. So it is not going to be beneficial, it is not going to be helpful, it is not going to be also productive, right? So those things need to be taken care of. So you have to keep telling the truth. So that is the idea. And do not be afraid of taking an interview, or do not feel like that, okay, they will burst me out, or if I will say something, so they will like, there can be a lot of questions which we will be discussing in the coming lectures, like why your CGPA is so less, right? Or why we should hire you, and there are so many other things. So the truth is something which you should always say. Now there are ways of speaking the truth. and there are also ways of not hiding an information and so on. And there are justifications, because you need to justify your approach. So those things I will talk about, all these things more in when we will be discussing about what are the questions when we will be taking the next lectures, or in the coming lectures you will see that we will be discussing a lot about what are the questions which you can expect in the interview and how to tackle them, right? Because you cannot be perfect everywhere. There can be certain imperfections also, but then you need to project it properly, right? So those things also we will be discussing. Now these are certain things also which you should understand. You need to be very patient and relaxed in your interview. You cannot do a lot of stuff over there. You cannot show your impatience. You cannot show your kind of behavior which is not acceptable in the interview. You also need to maintain an eye contact, because if you are not keeping an eye contact or maintaining an eye contact, they always feel like that you are hiding something, or you are concealing something, or you are not confident enough, or you are a timid person or something like that. So all these things will not be going in favor of you, right? So you need to maintain an eye contact, a very formal eye contact, right, when you are answering. And you need to maintain an eye contact with all your interviewers, right? Like suppose if there are 4 interviewing officers sitting, so you need to maintain an eye contact like this, right? Because you need to talk. Or you can maintain a blind eye contact, right? Like you talk like this, right? Because there are a couple of movements of eye pupil which you understand. So one is this blind eye contact, another one is direct eye contact. But in any of the ways you need to include all of them. You cannot talk, like suppose X person has asked the question, so you are answering only to the X person. That's not good. If you have asked the question, if suppose there is a question like this person, so you are only talking to this person and not considering the other person, it's not good. Because it does not matter whoever has asked the question, you need to answer to all of them. That is the idea, right? You also need to be very, very moderate in your approach. Many a times we are very flashy, right? We are saying, oh, we will do this, we will do that, given a chance I can do this and that. No, maybe these tall claims are not required. Rather than you can keep the things very simple, right? So being moderate is helpful. And the last point is that if you can give some suitable examples, or if you can make some analogies, so that is always going to be helpful. So making an analogy or finding an appropriate example is always going to be a bonus point. So try to substantiate your claims with some kind of examples, some kind of analogies and something. Next point, which is another important thing, is that you need to insist on your point, right? Because many times people can ask you that, oh, but this is not something which I have thought right, or this is not the point of view which is acceptable. Does not matter what. If you first think a lot before you make it a point, right? This is the first thing. But once you have make it a point, once you have taken your stand, you cannot leave it, or else it talks a lot about your character. It talks a lot about your attitude. It talks a lot about your behavior, right? And it will say that this person is not going to stay back. No, this person is not going to hold the ground. This person is not going to stand tall. So those things need to be very clearly taken care of. Then another thing in interview which the interviewing officers do not like is if you are repetitive, if you are recursive by nature. So try not to be repetitive. Try to come out with different expressions that will be helpful rather than very repetitive by nature. There may be a requirement to demonstrate something. Like suppose if you have gone for an interview and they have asked you to write a code and you are not carrying your pen. It may not be expected also, or it may not be allowed sometimes. That you are not allowed to keep a pen with you, or you are not allowed to keep papers with you, and something like that. So you can always ask for it, right? Or there can be a requirement of showing or demonstrating something on the board. So you can use the board if the board has been provided, and they will provide you also with markers. So if you want to make a point, you can always stand up, take the permission from them and explain it on the board that this is how the things are. So even that will help you, right? So those smaller things, those smaller arrangements need to be made by you. That is where intelligence comes in, right? So you need to, you should not play dumb over there. You need to think proactively and see if there is a need for something, if there is a want for something, do ask for it, right? So that is also the idea. then your expression has to be very brief and precise. Many a times we keep on blabbering, right? We keep on explaining and stuff. So that is also something which is not a very good thing. You need to be very brief and precise with your approach. Answer only that thing which they have asked you. Do not expand just like that. Like you are expanding and expanding and expanding. The amplified understanding is something which may be reserved for essay writing, right? But if you have been asked about something, try to be as brief and precise as you are. Because how, like suppose if I am the interviewing officer, how I make my mind that okay, this person is good or this person is bad. Just by few sentences I make this, or I start judging this person that okay, this person has made this point. So you have to be very brief and precise, right? And if you are brief and precise and you are explaining with very crisp ideas, so that is something which I will be liking a lot, because I do not have time forever. I have to interview a lot of people. So just think, if you are answering, if every answer of yours is taking 2, 3, 4 minutes, so it is going to blast my mind. If I, suppose, think from the interviewer's point of view, he or she wants you to give very brief and precise answers, and he or she will make his or her mind about it. Like okay, you are right about it. If there is a clarification which will be required, I will be asking, right? So if I am an interviewing officer, I will be asking, okay, why you said that, or what was the formula of this, right? Or how you make this point or claim. So those things I can clarify later. If there are certain lacunae in your explanation, I can always ask for it. But you need to be brief and precise, right? So that is the idea. And you need to also adhere to data and informations in an accurate fashion. You cannot just give a very approximate data. Be very accurate about your explanation. And last thing which you should all understand is, if you do not know something, admit it. Why? What is the problem? Nobody knows everything, right? Nobody is expecting also you to know everything. There are certain things which you should know, so we are expecting that these are the questions. But in that also, you may not know something because of certain reasons. It can be an accidental reason, it can have a genuine reason, and so on. So if you do not know, you can always say that, look, this information I do not know, or I have forgotten. Does not matter. Maybe you have read something in your first semester and you could not revise it properly, so you do not remember it in your seventh semester, right? So if you have it, if it has been asked to you and you have studied, you also scored a A+ grade in that subject, but then it might happen that you do not remember it. So there is no problem saying this, that okay, I do not remember the formula, I do not remember that data, or something like that. So there is no problem in that. Now, if you see the picture, it shows that this is what something which you should not do, right? This is something which is not at all acceptable. So try to be very confident when you are inside, and do not look like this person in this picture, right? You cannot do stuff like that. So you should not look here and there. If you are talking to a person, you should make an eye contact and you are talking to that person. So you have to be very straight with that person, right? You cannot look here and there and stare at this chair or that table or that wall or that carpet or something like that. Those things are not acceptable, right? Also, staring is not good. Like somebody is talking to you and you are staring at some place, or you are staring a person. There is a difference between making an eye contact and staring, right? So those things also you need to understand and you should not do. These are very basic things, but people sometimes do stare a lot, right? So those things also you need to manage and move. Then I as a teacher, or I as a person who is taking this interview, moves my hand a lot. Though I'm trying in this lecture to put my hands in my pocket so that I'm not moving my hands a lot. Moving hands is required when you need to address somebody, or you are taking a class. Then that hand movement is something which is helpful in explanation, which is also helping with interacting with people, because that is a part of body language as well. But if you are moving your hands a lot, right? If you are sitting on the chair, you know how to sit on the chair. We have discussed that in the last few slides, or in the last lecture in fact. So you know how to sit. So from there, your head movement can be there a little bit, because you are talking. You cannot be robotic, like you can talk like this, right? So you will not talk like this forever. So you will move your head a little bit, definitely, your body will move also a little bit, but a lot of hand movement and this and that, this is not something which is acceptable. So try to restrict your hand movement as much as you can, because if you see naturally, my hand also moves a lot when I got or I get stuck somewhere. What is the word? What was the word? I was explaining this for you. See, these are very natural hand gestures or certain things which will be happening. So do not move your hands much. Then also do not be very, angry, furious, violent, overexcited, melancholic. All these things needs to be avoided. You need to keep a check on your emotions. You cannot be very happy, euphoric. Oh, I have done this, I have done that, and blah blah blah. No, not there, not there. You can always come out, then you can burst in tears because you could not be selected or because you were selected. In both cases, people burst in tears, right? So those things are fine, but not inside the interview hall or inside the interview room, right? So those things also you need to keep in mind. Do not be over smart with the interviewing officer. He knows you. He or she knows you, and he and she is elder to you. He and she can very easily read you, right? So if you are playing smart, you are over smart, you are trying to give a justification which is not the case, so they will catch you. And if they catch you, then there is no way out. So those things are certain things which you should avoid completely. Also, exaggerating something is not a very good thing, right? Like if you are talked about something in the first answer, so then there is no need to talk about it in all the answers. Like, since I was from Sainik school, since I was from Sainik school, since I studied there, since I studied there, since I come from a rural area, since I come from a rural area. All these things, these are explanations, these are exaggerations, these are certain kind of justifications which you are giving forever, and that is not going to be something which people will take. So those things also you need to understand. Then you are asked something, you digress, you deviate, you start talking about something else. You felt so good that you moved from your interview hall to the pasture land somewhere. Now that is also something which is not acceptable, because if you are doing that, then also it is giving an idea that you are not sticking to the point, you are not on track, right? So that thing also you need to understand. Last, a lot of bodily movements, because I have restricted your hand movements, but then you can also do like this, right? A lot of people I have seen that they sit on the chair and then they talk like, I have done this, I have done that. Maybe you are an Eminem fan, I know, but then it will not help you much over there. So do not do a lot of body movements, right? Because it's not only hands, it's the whole of the body. And you can always read a book on body language. You can always find a lot of lectures on YouTube and a lot of videos here and there, a lot of stuff in the internet. They will talk about body movements and how things go wrong, even if you do not, even if you have initially not meant it to be like that. So these bodily movements are certain things which you need to avoid, right? So all these things also something you need to keep an eye. Now, if you can expect something, then it is not unexpected, right? But then the idea is that what is expecting the unexpected is that certain things can go wrong in your interview, but you should not be having this eyebrow raising attitude, right? Anything happened wrong and you're like, oh, okay, really, I didn't know. No, you cannot do like that, right? So you should not be very surprised. Can be surprised, you will be surprised by a lot of things, but then you should not show it. It should not become so obvious that, oh, I'm so surprised, oh, it happened. No, not like that. So those things, because look, if you have gone for an interview, things can go wrong, right? So you need to be very clear about it. Or suppose you are not expecting anything over there, things can go right as well, right? Since you were not expecting, again you were overwhelmed and you started shouting or crying or dancing on the sofa. I do not know what students and their stories, whenever I hear, they do a lot of things, but the idea is cannot do. Sometimes the environment becomes a little bit out of control, right? So you need to hold your nerves. You try to pacify yourself. You also need to pacify your interviewing officer. Sometimes you have answered a question which you were not meant to be, but that person turned very aggressive, or that person has not taken it in the best of the spirits, and he or she became very angry. So you need to pacify yourself, right? So these things also you should expect that things can go like that as well. So you need to behave properly, right? And as I told you, behind all these things there is truth. So if you are true to yourself, if you are true to the interviewing officer, I do not think so that much of these situations and analysis will be required. Nowadays this trend has come that at the end of the interview, the interviewing officers or the panel ask you that, do you have a question for us? We will be discussing in length about this in the next lectures, when we will be discussing about the kind of questions which you can expect and the kind of answers which they expect from you. So how you need to develop a question, this is the idea. So the first way of asking a question from them is to show your interest, right? Show your interest. Now what kind of questions you ask and how you ask and so on, we will be discussing in the next lecture. But like as I told you, that that which shows your interest in future prospects is something which is going to be a good question. And the second one is like, ask questions to bond with interviewer and the project and that which project you're enthusiastic, because that is also something which is going to be helpful. You need not be a faithful entity in front of them, but you need to show that there is a bond between human beings, right? Or this bond has developed during the course of the interview. Like you can see that if you have picked up something at the course of the interview or during the current interview, if you have picked up certain things, that okay, these are certain things which we can ask, what are the things which you can ask, what are the things which you should not ask, all these things which we will be discussing in the next lecture. But right now you should also understand that there is a need to ask sometimes certain questions, and you need to think about it, that if my interviewing officer asks me that okay, if you have a question for us, shoot, so you need to put that question in front of them, right? So that idea is also something which should be there in your mind, and you should be well versed with that. These are certain formal notations which you should understand. There is a difference between kindly and please, right? So to understand it very normally, if I am a person with this stature and I am talking to a person higher who is higher in stature than me, so I will always be using kindly, right? This is a natural understanding. If I am talking to a person who is equal to my stature or who is below my stature, so I will use please. So kindly is a more formal notion. Please is both are formal notions, but then please is for equivalents as well as for juniors, and for senior people you should use kindly, right? So this is the first thing which I, then may I or allow me, use these formal notations, right? Because for everything, as I told you, that there is a need for taking permission. So you can always say that allow me to ask this, or may I be allowed to do this, or something like that. So these permission seeking is something which is important, and for these two expressions are very helpful, right? Then the third, like being grateful or being delighted about something. So these are also certain things which you may be required to use. So these are like the kind of artilleries which you require, right, for your formal arsenal. So those things also which you need to develop, that what should be my proper notations or proper these say expressions which I will be using in the interview. Because if you are not using proper and formal notations or expressions, then it may also be not sounding accurate, right, or very very professional by nature. And last, could you please or could you possibly do certain things, because these expressions in itself make a lot of statement about your possibility of getting selected or may not be selected, right? So these seeking permission, talking in a very formal way and so on is required, is very much required for taking up an interview. So that is also something which I wanted to bring to your notice. Sorry. Okay, now this is how you need to back up. Now since you are sitting, so nobody will say that okay, stand up, go. Nobody will say, right? So you need to pick up that when a person is telling you that okay, it's pack up time, right? So that is something that you should understand. The first thing is that try to read the mind of the interviewing officer. If he's like bored with you, or if he's saying that yeah, okay, it was a nice interview, thank you very much for your time. So all these things are basically expressions of interest where they are saying that okay, I can leave, right? So you need to pick up that these things. Nobody will say you until and unless you are not leaving your chair. So they will say okay, stand up, leave, right? But usually they will not say like that. So you need to read the mind of the person, first thing. Then also their body languages, because sometimes you may not be very good at reading the mind of the person, which we are not very good at, right? So but the body language displays, like when they are doing like this and stuff, or when they are saying that so these expressions say that okay, it's over, right? You need to pack up, so all these things also uh, try to remember them. Then also follow the cue, and also give an indication. Now this is a very important thing. How to send an indication that yes, I have got it. When the person starts behaving like that okay, it's time, thank you very much for your interview and so on. So you also need to give a nod, or the head nod that yes, okay, thank you very much sir, or something like that. You need to pull the chair, and show your intent of standing up, so that they also get the idea that yes, you have got it. If they have not, suppose you read their mind wrong, or you read the body language wrong, they wanted to ask you more questions but you are leaving, so they will see that this person thinks that the interviewing officer, they will say that okay, stop, we still have more questions. But you need to give that indication, right? So they will also understand that yes, this person is getting the thing. Look, everything is about intelligence. If you are intelligent, you will be taken, and we need intelligent people. So try to develop that intelligence, that if suppose somebody is telling you that okay, it's time, so you need to leave, right? So that idea is also something which you should be very clearly manifesting to them. Now, how to leave? This is the last part of the interview. First thing, you thank all of them genuinely. No, it's not thank you sir, and then does not matter the rest of the people. You need to thank all of them. Does not matter if the other two were not asking any questions to you. Like there were 3 people in the panel, only one person asked a few questions, and then he said, or you got the idea that the interview is over. Does not matter. You be very genuine with all the 3 or all the 4 or however, how many they are. Right? This is the first thing. Then get up. This is another thing which is required. Then you may require to realign the chair. Right? So if you were sitting in a way that the chair needs to be aligned in some way, so when you get up, you put it in the say past condition, in whatever way it was before, because that is the minimal which is required. Sometimes it is not needed because the chair is fixed and everything is fixed, so there is absolutely no need for that. So if it is required, so you need to realign. That is the idea. And as you enter the room, you leave the room, right? That is again another place. Look, you can be a boundary line candidate. You can be a candidate who may have given some thought in the minds of the interviewing officers that whether we should take this guy or not. But then you're leaving the room will put the last nail on the coffin, that whether you have died or you survived, right? So the idea is that if you leave the room gracefully, then I think so that if there are certain doubts and if it can go in favor of you, so it will go in favor of you. So you should not feel like, oh, my interview was so bad, so I'm going like this. You need to leave confidently, you need to leave gracefully, and you need to always be very graceful and confident in your approach. So that is the whole idea of taking up the interview. So thank you very much for the second lecture as well. So when we will meet next, we will be discussing interview questions.